It's your girl Icy Mona, and I'm here with another review for Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 13, episode 5. So let's get into it. So the first thing we have is Candy, Riley, and the whole fam bam. They are basically teaching Riley to clean before she goes off to college, and it's like, what the fuck? I mean, I do get it because obviously Riley grew up being rich, so she probably always had maids and shit like that, but it's like, I really think she acting for the camera, because she was over there acting like she didn't know what anything was, talking about something she not off the clean countertops. And the one thing I know from when I went to college is that people as a whole, like whoever you room with or just people in your hall, we were raised differently. There are some nasty people in college, and it was so cute. Little baby Ace, well, he's not a baby, but you know, he was trying to help out and shit. That's why I'm like, that's how I know she acting, because he knew how to clean and she didn't. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So next thing we have Cynthia and Latoya. They're going lingerie shopping. Kenya's about to meet up there later. Latoya starts talking to Cynthia about how she put Kenya on to the dating app, and the last time like they had hung out or whatever. And while she's talking about it, there's a confessional that cuts to Cynthia, and she's basically like, oh, I'm not jealous, I'm just annoyed, which I do feel her, because Kenya and Latoya are both being very annoying about each other. Like I said in the last review, it's some little flirtatious, I don't know, tease going on right now, but I still think Cynthia's she's a little bit jealous, just a little. And then she starts talking about how Kenya sent her a nude, and they actually showed the nude. I mean, obviously on TV, it wasn't like she was exposed, but she was like fully naked or whatever, and she was just basically awing over and fangirling over Kenya's nude body, and Cynthia's just kind of like, okay. So then finally Kenya arrives, and she's basically talking about how she was uninvited from Portia's party. And she's basically like, I don't know why they would invite me. All I would do is be positive. Why would I be negative? And it's like, Kenya, girl, like literally did a flashback to the Kenya Moore hair care. Like, come on, like do you know how you are? Like, stop playing. And then Cynthia's defending Portia and is basically like, well, you know how people are in their house. Like, you know, not everybody wants everybody and their mama up in their house. Like, some people are very, very strict with that. Like, only them and a few close family friends can know where their address is. So then Cynthia is talking to Candy on FaceTime, and like all the girls are surrounding, and basically Cynthia is trying to find out, okay, what is this party about? And same thing with Latoya too. And Cynthia brings up how she thinks Joe Biden is going to be at the party, because I guess in their group chat someone mentioned it, or because like the doors are gonna close early, all that. And I'm like, girl, like why would Joe Biden come see y'all bitches? Let's be realistic. So we get the next scene with Portia and Lauren and Portia's mother. And basically it starts out with Lauren bringing over some hot dogs from the competitor, I guess some varsity hot dogs. Portia is vegan now, so she was talking about she may sneak have someone go over to Dennis's place and get one of their vegan dogs. And then Lauren starts telling Portia how she feels low-key bad about like not inviting Kenya, and Portia's basically like, I'm not tripping, like we don't know where we stand. I'm not relying on you to know where we stand. Like, it's whatever, but thanks for the present, pretty much. And then Portia tells us that she's writing a book, and that this book deals with some of her hardships with like abuse and just stuff like that. So then we get a little bit deeper into Portia's upbringing. So this I did not know of, but Portia and Lauren are actually half sisters. They share the same dad and different moms. And Lauren grew up with her dad more than Portia, because Portia and her parents split at a really early age, and then he ended up running off, getting Lauren's mom pregnant, and then like maintaining a life with them. But even though they were half sisters, they were still very close. So Portia, I guess, would visit Lauren's house every single weekend, which I think is really good, because there are a lot of family who have half siblings and their relationships with them are kind of like shaky. They don't really talk to them that much, but the fact they made it a key point, like, no, like we're family, there is no half in here, like all that stuff, like I can respect that. So then Portia gets into this topic of how she never felt like she had daddy issues until like after her dad passed away. Her dad passed away when she was a teenager, and she was saying the whole like dating scene and her just as she was dating, having trash guys who were like, you know, manipulating her, just treated her horrible, how she had her dad in her life. that she could have realized that. And I really do feel Portia on that, because I'm one of the same people too, where I always thought like, oh, I don't have daddy issues, because I grew up in a household where my parents were like married, but my dad unfortunately passed away when I was a kid. And it wasn't until I got to like, I say probably college, where I realized like, okay, no, like I do have daddy issues. I do have, in some ways, abandonment issues because of his death, and it did affect and has, and I'm trying to get out of it. I'm still young in my 20s, but you know, certain things that I date are just certain things that I do. So I felt Portia on that one, like that one hit so different. And that's when Portia brings up, that's why she picked Dennis, because she knew Dennis, regardless if they fell out or not, would still be a good father and instill values like that in her. And the way she was talking about how she picked him, because she was like, oh, he don't got no kids, he got his own job, own car, shit like that. I feel like she picked him more so, like, I'm not gonna say for the money, because Portia has her own money, but I feel like it was on some like business shit. Because just being frank, we all know Dennis is not cute, so it's like yeah, she could have kept that one. And then Portia starts asking Lauren how was her relationship with their father. She says she had never like asked her straight up. And basically Lauren was saying how their dad would like go to work, come home, but he would always kiss her in the forehead in the morning. He was very consistent and pretty much just loving, affectionate, and not really affected Portia, and made her like sad, that she was literally crying because she didn't get to experience that type of affection or just that family household like vibe. And with this book, it's making her realize that more and more, just self-reflecting. And honestly, I love Portia's family. I love, because I didn't even know they were half siblings. I thought Portia's mom was Lauren's mom. Like the fact that they're all so close, can hang out, like it's just like they did really good raising them, definitely, both sides. So then we see Kenya getting ready for the little surprise engagement party, and the place is beautiful. It's winter wonderland theme. They got ice sculptures, snow on the table, even though Kenya was being picky, like that's not a lot of snow, but it was beautiful. Like I'll give her that, like she knew what she was doing when it came to all the decorating and all that shit. So then they show like Candy getting ready, flash to her, and then they show Cynthia getting ready, Cynthia and Mike. And while Cynthia and Mike are getting ready, they call Portia, who has no wig on, literally cap on, everything, talking about some, I'm an hour away, and she hasn't even finished getting ready. So you already know Portia's gonna be like extremely late. But Cynthia and Mike are so focused on the fact that Joe Biden may be there, and Cynthia for the most part does show up on time. They ready, like literally after that phone call was over, they were in the car. So then it's the night of the engagement party, and the first person to arrive is Tanya, and she walks in like, you know, like where is everybody at? And Kenya basically goes up to her and tells her like, oh, it's actually my party that I'm planning, blah blah blah, because Tanya was basically like, where is Candy, and this is her party. And Cynthia and Mike are basically like, damn, like there's no Joe Biden here, like y'all are really stupid. So then Cynthia pulls Kenya to the side and basically tell her how she wants her to be a bridesmaid, and Kenya just like, oh my gosh, wow. And to be real, I wonder if Cynthia had planned on, because after that she then pulls Candy to the side and tells her she wants to be her bridesmaid too. But I wonder if she planned on making them bridesmaids, or because she found out that they helped through that party, that she was like, okay, might as well make them bridesmaids. I don't know, it was something about it that made it seem so like that wasn't in the plans. So then after that, about 20 minutes later, Marlo finally arrives. And then Kenny's on stage singing away. We don't gotta go into detail about that. We all know how Candy's voice sounds. So she's over there just all that shit, him and hawing around the house and shit. So then at this scene, Kenya is on stage talking drunk and just basically talking about how much like Cynthia and Mike mean to her, just talking about them, whatever. And then Portia arrives, which is like an hour late, and of course Kenya is just like, oh my gosh, like she's so disrespectful, blah blah blah. And no lie, I'm not gonna lie to you, I used to be one of those people out of my friend group who would always be late. There was like a good 2-3 of us. We would all show, us three would show up at the same time, but late, like an hour late, all that shit. And that's just how we were. But as I started to get a little bit older, and there came a point in time where I really was just on my shit, and I started actually being on time. If I was late, it was 5 or 10 minutes. And then I realized like, wow, I've been disrespectful as fuck for years to my friends, showing up an hour late thinking that shit was like cute. And it's like, no. Because now when someone's hella late when it comes to plans, now I feel how like they probably felt like, what the fuck, like so disrespectful. So I do understand her being mad at Portia, but it's just interesting because Latoya came about like what 23 minutes after Portia, and she didn't really have that much to say. She was like, better late than never. Like, you know, she wasn't over there like so disrespectful because, you know, that's her little boo or whatever. The party overall to me seemed hella awkward. I don't know if it's because it was the amount of people or the fact that the surprise was thrown off, because when I think about Portia's surprise party, her shit wasn't like hella packed. It was probably that same amount of people, maybe a little bit more, but it didn't feel awkward at all. But this one just felt so awkward and just like almost cringe. Like it was just blah. So then finally the food comes out. Oh, I'm sorry. When Latoya comes, she comes when the food comes out. But yeah, so that the food comes out, they're all at the dinner table eating or whatever. And then Portia brings up talking about being vegan and how when you're vegan, the sex is more intensified. I'm not sure if that's true or not, because I was a pescatarian before, and I know at least with that, it was the same. So maybe it was just me, but she's just basically like, nah, like vegan is the way to go. And then Candy's like, oh, like you've been having sex with him. Portia's like, myself. And it's like, girl, with them Chanel bags, I'm pretty sure she busting it open. So then Portia asks Cynthia who are her bridesmaids, and she tells the whole table who they are. In the confessionals, Portia was just like, oh, like I'm not tripping, blah, blah, blah. It's like I was waiting by the phone. I honestly don't think Portia was tripping. I think she was just trying to be funny for the show and make it seem like maybe a little part of her could have been tripping, but I think we all know that her and Cynthia aren't like super close. Like if I remember correctly, didn't like Portia and Cynthia physically get into it at one point? Like, so yeah. So then randomly out of nowhere, Latoya thinks it's okay to show the table Kenya's nudes, and that was just like weird. Like Kenya was over there enjoying it or whatever because she got a little crush and someone's giving her some clout, since like, you know, Mark isn't like giving her no clout at all or hyping her up. But like I thought that was weird, especially because there are like dudes at the table, and I just feel like that's honestly inappropriate to show nudes. And it's like you got people's husbands sitting right here. Like I don't understand what was going through her head. And even in like Portia and Candy and Cynthia's confessional, they were pretty much on the same page, or I think Marlo, whoever, but the girls are basically like, no. Like, why are you doing this? And Latoya makes a comment and she's like, I wish that was my body. And then Marlo on some slick shade is like, so you want a butt job? Now that was pretty funny. Like Marlo, she be coming with the heat, and honestly Kenya really can't be saying shit back to her because she knows she knows Marlo will drag that ass with all facts. Latoya and Kenya have this little a little flirty moment because Kenya's like, well, we all know she wants to eat my ass. I'm just like, okay, y'all just need to get up, go and get a room. Like this is, I guess, part of Kenya's storyline. She's low-key bisexual. I don't know what's going on, but whatever. The girls start kind of getting into it a little bit, and Kenny tries to, like, you know, bring the room back down. Literally the minute she gets the room back down, here goes Kenya. There's 3 girls in here that I would fuck. Like, she was on one. Like, all I want to know is what was they drinking? I did hear Kenya say she was a lightweight, but still, like, bitch, like. And she was saying how she would fuck Candy, that she said it'd be the best sex she never had, which I believe. And then she said, obviously we know Latoya. And then she said Cynthia, and then she starts going into details about, oh, that mouth, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, girl, like, I don't think Mike was cool with that. Like, it was just very awkward. I mean, the guys themselves was kind of reaching behind, like, their women trying to, like, watch the game and shit, because at that point, it's like, okay, y'all some other shit. Like, I'm not trying to be a part of this. So then Kenya gets to be her typical messy self and asks Portia, like, oh, did you get the gift? And Portia was like, oh, yes, thank you, blah, blah, blah. And then here goes Kenya. It would have been nice if I was invited. And it's like, here we go. And Portia is basically explaining to her, like, you know, Lauren doesn't know that I even like you, like if we're cool or not. So they kind of like, they don't really go back, but you know. So then the party wraps up, they're dancing or whatever, and in the confessional, Cynthia is saying how like her and Mike were disappointed for like those 3 hours because there's no Joe Biden. Obviously, I'm sure she appreciated it, but like I said, the party no lie was kind of awkward. I was like, y'all really thought Joe Biden was gonna be there? Like out of all people, Joe Biden. And the last thing we have is Riley getting ready to leave for college. Riley, Todd, and Candy are going, and probably like her assistant, and the kids, I'm assuming, are staying home with Mama Joyce. And it was a sad scene. Like, little Ace was like crying and was like, I don't want her to go, blah, blah, blah. I want to help her clean. I know she doesn't like getting her hands dirty. She forgot the gloves. He's so cute. And like Candy was saying, you know, Riley was like a second mom to him, because we know Candy be busy all over the place and just having kids and having Riley to watch after them. And then they show this super cute flashback of like Riley over the years, like growing up, and it's like, oh, it's just so cute to see. And I know Candy obviously is gonna be like super emotional, and it is very like a hard like thing to watch. Like I know when I left, I mean everyone has different experiences. Like some people I know go off to college and they like bye. But like when I went off, I was crying, like literally crying. And my roommate wasn't gonna show up till the next day, so I had to spend the night in the dorm all alone. I literally cried myself to sleep that night. But then like 1 week later, your girl was wildin'. Like I cried all that shit out and let the wild in. So yeah, that was pretty much the episode. Like I said before, I'm hoping it's going to pick up speed, get better. It is, for the most part, starting to get better, but it is still kind of like, we'll see. But that was my review. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on my socials, and I will see you next time.